Hi, welcome to NVSR channel. Today we are going to see about Indian polity, union and its territory, part 1, article 1 to 4. Now we start that union and its territory. Article 1 to 4 under part 1 of the constitution deal with the union and its territory. Union of states. Article 1 describes India, that is Bharat, as a union of states rather than a federation of states. This provision deal with the two things: one, name of the country, and two, type of polity. There was an unanimity in the Constituent Assembly with regard of the name of the country. Some members suggest the traditional name Bharat, while others advocate the modern name India. Hence, the Constituent Assembly had to adopt the mix of both India, that is Bharat. Secondly, the country is described as a union, although its constitution is federal in structure. According to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the phrase Union of State has been prepared to Federation of State for two reasons. One, the Indian Federation is not a result of agreement among the states like American Federation. And two, the states have no right to secede from the Federation. The Federation is a union because it is indestructible. The country is an integral whole and divided into different states only for the convenience of the administration. According to the Article 1, the territory of India can be classified into the three categories: territory of the states, union territory that may be acquired by the government of India at any time. The name of the state and union territory and the territorial extent are mentioned in the first schedule of the Constitution. At present, there are 28 states and 9 union territory. The provision of the Constitution pertaining the state are applicable to all the states in the same manner. However, the special provision under part under part 21 applicable to the states of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Sikkim, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, and Karnataka. Override the general provisions relating to the status as a class. Further, the 5th and 6th schedule contain separate provision with respect to the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas within the state. In November 2019, the Government of India introduced legislation to merge the Union of Territory of Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli into a single union territory to be known as Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Diu and Daman, effective from 26 January 2002. Now, India has 28 states and 8 union territory. Notably, the territory of India is a wider expression than the Union of India because the latter includes only states while the former include not only the states but also union territory and territory that may be acquired by the government of India at any future time. The states are members of the federal system and share a distribution of power with the center. The union territory and the acquired territory, on the other hand, are directly administered by the central government. Being a sovereign state, India can acquire foreign territory according to the modes recognized by international law, that is, cession, foreign treaty, purchase, gift, lease, or plebiscite occupation, either unoccupied by a recognized ruler, conquest, or subjugation. For example, India acquired several foreign territories such as Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman, Diu, Puducherry, and Sikkim. Since the commencement of the Constitution, the acquisition of these territories are discussed later in the chapter. Article 2 empower the Parliament to admit into the Union of India or establish new state on such terms and conditions as it thinks it fit. Thus, Article 2 grants two power to the Parliament: the power to admit into the Union of India new states, Power to establish new state. The first step for the administration of states which are already in existence, while the second refer to the establishment of states which are not in existence before. Notably, Article 2 relate to the administration or establishment of new state that are not part of the Union of India. Article 3, on the other hand, relate to the formation or change in the existing state of the Union of India. In other words, Article 3 deal with the internal readjustment enters the territory of the constituent state of the Union of India. Parliament power to reorganize the state. Article 3 authorities the Parliament to form a new state by separation of territory from any state or by uniting two or more states or part of the states or by uniting any territory to be a part of any state. Like this, it happened in November 2019. The other Nagarhaveli Dividend can be united to a single union territory. Increase the area of the any state, diminish the area of any state, alter the boundaries of any state, and alter the name of any state. However, Article 3 lays down two conditions in this regard. One, a bill containing the above changes can be introduced in the Parliament only with the prior recommendation of the President. And two, before recommendation of the bill, the President has to refer the same to the state legislature concerned for expressing its views within the specified period. Further, the power of Parliament to form new states include the power to form a new state or union territory by uniting a part of the state or union territory to any other state or union territory. The President or Parliament is not bounded by the views of the state legislature, and any either accept or reject them, even if the views are received in time. Further, it is not necessary to take in fresh reference to the state legislature. Sure, every time an amendment to the bill is moved to and accepted in Parliament. In case of the Union Territory, no reference need to be made to the concerned legislature to ascertain its views, and Parliament can itself take any action as deems fit. It is thus clear that the constitutional authority the Parliament to form a new state or alter the areas, boundaries or name of the existing state without their consent. In other words, the Parliament can redraw the political map of India according to its will. Hence, the territorial integrity or continued existence of the state is not guaranteed by the Constitution. Therefore, India is rightly described as indestructible union of destructible states. The union government can destroy the states, whereas the state government cannot destroy the union. In the USA, on the other hand, the territorial integrity or continued existence of state is guaranteed by the Constitution. The American federal government cannot form a new state or alter the border of the existing state without the consent of state concerned. That is why the USA is described as an indestructible union of indestructible state. Moreover, the Constitution, Article 4 itself declares the laws made the admission or establishment of new states, and Article 2 and formation of new states and alteration of various boundaries of names of existing states under Article 3 are not to be considered as an amendment of the Constitution under Article 368. This means that such a laws can be passed by simple majority and by the ordinary legislative process, as the power of Parliament to diminish the areas of state under Article 3 include also the power to cede Indian territory to foreign country. This question came up for examination before the Supreme Court in reference made by the President in 1960. The decision of the central government to cede a part of the territory known as Bedburi Union, West Bengal, to Pakistan led to political aggression and controversy, and they necessitated the present reference. The Supreme Court held that the power of the Parliament to diminish the area of state under Article 3 does not cover a section of Indian territory to the foreign country. Hence, the Indian territory can be ceded to the foreign state only by amending the Constitution under Article 368. Consequently, the 9th Constitutional Amendment Act 1960 was enacted to transfer the said territory to Pakistan. On the other hand, the Supreme Court in 1969 ruled that a settlement of a boundary dispute between India and another country does not require a constitutional amendment. It can be done by executive action. It does not involve section of Indian territory to a foreign country. Exchange of territory with Bangladesh. The 100th Constitutional Amendment Act 2015 was enacted to give effect to acquiring a certain territory by India and transfer of certain other territory to Bangladesh in pursuance of the agreement and its protocol entered into between the government of India and Bangladesh. Under this deal, India transferred 111 enclaves to Bangladesh, while Bangladesh transferred 51 enclaves to India. In addition, the deal also involved in transfer of adverse possession and a demarcation of 6.1 kilometers undermarked border stretch. For these three purposes, the amendment modified the provision relating to the territory of the four states Assam, West Bengal, Meghalaya and Tripura in the first schedule of the constitution. The background of the amendment as follows. India and Bangladesh have a common land boundary of approximately 4,096.7 kilometers. The India-East Pakistan land boundary was determined as per the Right Leaf Award of 1947. Dispute arose out of some provision in the Red Leaf Award, which was sought to resolve through the Bay Award of 1950. Another effort was made to settle these disputes by the Nehru Agreement of 1958. However, the issue relating to the division of Berpur Union was challenged before the Supreme Court to comply with the opinion rendered by the Supreme Court. The Constitution 9th Amendment Act 1960 was passed by the Parliament due to the continuous litigation and other political development at that time. The Constitution 9th Amendment Act 1960 could not be notified in respect of it in former Eastern Pakistan, presently Bangladesh. Number 2. On May 16, 1974, agreement between the India and Bangladesh concerning the demarcation of the land boundary and related matters was signed between the both of countries to find solution to complex nature of the border demarcation involved. This agreement was not ratified and it involved inter alia transfer of territory which requires constitutional amendment. In this connection, it was also required to identify the precise area on the ground which should be transferred. Subsequently, the issue relating to the demarcation or undemarcated boundaries, the territory in advance possession, and the exchange of enclave were identified and resolved by signing protocol on the September 16, 2011, which formed an integral part of the land boundary agreement between India and Bangladesh. 1974, the protocol was prepared with support and concurrence of the concerned state government of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and West Bengal. Next, evolution of state and union territory. Integral of princely state. At the time of independence, India comprised two categories of political units, namely British province under the direct rule of British government and the princely states under the rule of native princes but subject to parsimony of the British crown. The Indian Independence Act 1947 created two independence and separate dominance of India and Pakistan and gave three options to princely states which joining India, joining Pakistan or remaining independent. The 52 princely states situated with the geographical boundaries of India. 549 joined India and the remaining three, Hyderabad, Junagadh, Kashmir, refused to join India. However, in course of time, they are also included with the India. Hyderabad by means of police action, Junagadh by means of referendum and Kashmir by instrument of accession. In 1950, the Constitution contained the four-fold classification of the state and territory of the Indian Union: Part A, Part B, and Part C states and Part D territory. In all the numbers noted in Part A states comprise 9 SL governor province of British India. Part B states consist of 9 SL princely states with legislation. Part C consists of Chief Commissioner province of British India. Some of the princely states, these Part C states in all 10 in number, were centrally administered. The Andaman Nicobar Island were kept as solitary Part D territory. Thar Commission and JVP Committee. The integration of princely states with the rest of the India was as purely an ad hoc arrangement. There has been demand from different regions, particularly South India, for reorganization of the state on a linguistic basis. According to June 1948, the Government of India appointed the Linguistic Promotion Commission under the chairmanship of S.K. Tar to examine the feasibility of this. The commission submitted its report on December 1948 and recommended the reorganization of state on the basis of administrative convenience rather than linguistic factor. This created much resentment and led to appointment of another linguistic promotion committee by Congress in December 1948 itself to examine the whole question afresh. It consists of Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, and hence was popularly known as JVP. J for Jawaharlal Nehru, V for Vallabhbhai Patel, P for Pattabhi Sitaramaiah Committee. It submitted the report on April 1949 and formally rejected language as the basic and for reorganization of states. Territory of India in 1950. Party states: Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Odisha, Punjab, United Province, West Bengal. States in Part B: Hyderabad, Jammu and Kashmir, Madhya Bharat, Mysore, Patiala in East Punjab, Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Trivandrum, Cochin, Vinaya Pradesh. Part D: Ajmer, Bhopal, Ulster, Coach Bihar, Coach, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Kuch, Manipur, Tripura. In Part D, Andaman Nicobar Island. Original part of the Constitution dealing with the states and territory. Part 6. The states in Part A of the Schedule 152 to 237 article. Part 7. The states in Part B of the first schedule, Article 238. Part 8. The state in Part C of the first schedule, 213, Article 239 to 242. Part 9. The territory in the Part D of the first schedule and the other territory not specified in that section, Article 243. However, in October 1950, the Government of India was forced to create the first linguistic language state known as Andhra Pradesh, Andhra State, by separating Telugu-speaking areas from the Madras State. This followed by prolonged popular agitation and death of Potti Sriramulu, the Congress person standing after 56 days hunger strike for the cause. Potti Sriramulu, 56 years of age, 56-day hunger strike for the cause of to make language states. Fuzzy Ali Commission. The creation of Andhra State intensified the demand from other regions of creation of states on linguistic basis. This forced the Government of India to appoint in December 1950 a three-member states reorganization commission under the chairmanship of Fuzzy Ali to re-examine the whole question. Its other two members are K.M. Panikkar, H.M. Kunsru. He submitted its report on September 1955 and broadly accepted the language as the basic reorganization of the state, but it rejected the theory of one language, one state. It views as the unity of India should be regarded as the primary consideration of any redrawing of the country political units. It identifies the four major factors that can be documented in any scheme of reorganization of the state: preservation and strengthening of the unity and the security of the country; B. Linguistic and cultural homogeneity; C. Financial, economic, administrative consideration; D. Planning and promotion of the welfare of the people in each state as well as the nation as a whole. Territory of India 1956. States: Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Mysore, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal. Totally 14 states. Union Territory: Andaman Nicobar Island, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Lakshadweep, Vinayag, Medivi Island, Manipur, Tripura. The Commission suggested the abolition of the fourfold classification of state and territory under the original constitution and creation of 16 states and 3 central administrative territories. The Government of India accepted this recommendation with a certain minor modification by the State Reorganization Act 1956, 7th Constitution Amendment Act 1956. The distinction between the Part A and Part B states are done away with. The Part C states were abolished. Some of them were merged with adjacent states. Some others were designated as a union territory. As a result, 14 states and 6 union territories were created in November 1956. The State Reorganization Act 1956 established a new state of Kerala by merging the Trivandrum Cochin state with the Malabar district of Madras state and the Kasaragod of South Canada. It merged with the Telugu-speaking areas of Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create Andhra Pradesh state. Further, it merged with the Madhya Pradesh state, Vindhya Pradesh state and Bhopal state into the Madhya Pradesh state. Similarly, it merged the Saurashtra state and Kutch state into the state of the Bombay state, the Koj state into the Mysore state, Patiala and East Punjab state, Union Pepsu into the Punjab state, the Ajmer state into the Rajasthan state. Moreover, it created a new union territory of Lakshadweep, Minikai, Amit Devi Island from the territory of detached from the Madras state. The new states and the union territory created after 1956. Even after the large-scale reorganization of the state in 1956, the political map of India underwent continuous changes due to the pressure of popular education and the political conditions. The demand of the creation of some more states on the basis of the language or cultural homogeneity resulted in bifurcation of the existing states. Maharashtra and Gujarat. In 1960, bilingual state of Bombay was divided into two separate states, Maharashtra for Marathi-speaking people and Gujarat for Gujarati-speaking. Gujarat was established as 15th state of Indian Union, Dadra and Nagar Haveli. The Portuguese ruled this state until its liberation in 1954. Subsequently, the administration was carried in until 1961 by the administration chosen by the people themselves. It was converted into a union territory of India by 10th Constitutional Amendment Act 1961. Goa and Daman. India acquired these three territories from the Portuguese by means of the police action. In 1961, they are constituted as a union territory by the 12th Constitutional Amendment Act 1962. Later in 1987, Goa was conferred as a statehood. Consequently, Daman and Diu was made a separate union territory. Now it is united with Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Puducherry. The territory of Puducherry comprises a former French establishment in India known as Puducherry, Karaikal, Mahi and Yanam. The French handed over this territory to India in 1954. Subsequently, it was administered by the acquired territory till 1962, when it made a union territory by the 14th Constitutional Amendment Act 1962. Nagaland. In 1963, the state of Nagaland was founded by taking the Naga Hills and Tibet's area out of the state of Assam. This was done to satisfy movement of hostile Nagas. However, before giving Nagaland the status of the 16th state of the Indian Union, it was placed under the control of Governor of Assam in 1961. Haryana, Chandigarh and Himachal Pradesh. In 1966, the state of Punjab was bypassed to create Haryana as a 17th state of Indian Union. The union territory of the Chandigarh is for demand of separate Sikh homeland. Punjab is raised by the Akil Dal under the leadership of Master Tara Singh on the recommendation of the Cha Commission 1966. The Punjabi-speaking areas were constituted into the unleading state of Punjab. The Hindi-speaking areas were constituted into state of Haryana, and hill areas were merged the adjoining union territory of Himachal Pradesh. 1971, the union territory of Himachal Pradesh was elevated to the status of state, 18th state of the Indian. Manipur, Tripura and Meghalaya. 1972, the political map of northeast India underwent a major change. Thus, the two union territory of Manipur and Tripura and the substate of Meghalaya got statehood, and the two union territory of Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, originally known as Northeast Frontier Agency (NEFA), came into being. With this, number of states of the union increased to 21. Manipur 19th state, Tripura 20th, Meghalaya 21st. Initially, the 27th Constitutional Amendment Act 1961 created Meghalaya as an autonomous state or substate within the state of Assam with its own legislature and council of ministers. However, this did not satisfy the aspiration of the people of Meghalaya. The union territory of Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh were also formed out of the territory of the Assam. Sikkim Till 1947, Sikkim was the Indian princely state ruled by the Chogas. In 1947, after the lapse of British paramountcy, Sikkim became the protectorate of India. The Indian government assumed responsibility for the defense, external affairs, and the communication of Sikkim. In 1974, Sikkim expressed its desire for greater association with India. Accordingly, the 35th Constitutional Amendment Act 1974 was enacted by the Parliament. This amendment introduced a few new classes of statehood under the Constitution by conferring Sikkim the status of associated state of the Indian Union. For this purpose, new Article 2A, a new schedule, 10th schedule containing the terms and conditions of association, were inserted in the Constitution. This exception, however, did not last long. It could not fully satisfy the aspiration of the people of Sikkim. It reaffirmed held in 1970 they voted for the abolition of the institution of Chogal, and the Sikkim became the integral part of India. Consequently, the 36th Amendment Act 1975 was enacted to make the Sikkim full-fledged state of Indian Union and the 22nd state of India. This amendment was the first and fourth schedule to the Constitution and added a new Article 371F to provide certain special provision with respect to the administration of the Sikkim. It also repeated Article 2A and the 10th schedule that were added by the 35th Amendment Act of 1974. Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Goa. In 1987, three new states of Mizoram, 14 Arunachal Pradesh and 15 Goa 16 came to being as a 23rd, 24th, 25th state of the Indian Union respectively. The Union Territory of Mizoram was conferred a state of full state as a sequel to signing the Memorandum of Settlement Mizoram Peace Accord in 1986 between the central government and Mizo National Front, ending the two-decade-old insurgency. Arunachal Pradesh had also been Union Territory from 1972. The state of Goa was created as separating territory of Goa from the Union Territory of Goa, Daman and Diu. Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. In 2000, there are three new states from Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand were created out of the territory of Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Respectively, this became the 26th Chhattisgarh, 27th Uttarakhand, 28th Jharkhand. Telangana. In 2014, the new state of Telangana came into existence of the 29th state of Indian Union. It was carved out of the territory of Andhra Pradesh. The Andhra Pradesh State Act 1953 formed the first linguistic state of the India known as the state of Andhra by taking out of the Telugu speaking area from the state of Madras, now Tamil Nadu. Kurnool was the capital of Andhra Pradesh and the state high court was established in Guntur. The state reorganization state 1950s merged the Telugu speaking area of Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create an enlarged Andhra Pradesh state. The capital of the state was shifted to Hyderabad. Again, the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014 bifurcated the Andhra Pradesh into two separate states, namely Andhra Pradesh Residuary and then Telangana, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Till 2019, the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution and thus enjoyed the special status of which of Article 370 of the Constitution of India. In 2019, this special status was abolished by the President to order known as the Constitutional Application of Jammu and Kashmir Order 2019. This order surpassed the earlier order known as the Constitution Order 1954. Application of Jammu and Kashmir. The 2019 order extended all the provisions of the Constitution of India to Jammu and Kashmir also. However, the inoperative Article 370 of the continued to remain the next in the text of the Constitution of India. Further, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 between the state of Jammu and Kashmir into two separate union territories, namely the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir comprises all the districts of the state of Jammu and Kashmir except the Kargil and Lake district, which have gone to the Union Territory of the Ladakh. Thus, the number of states of the Union Territory increased from 14 and 16 in 1952 to 20, 28 and 8 in 2020 respectively. Change of name. The name of some states of Union Territory also been changed. The United Province was the first state to have a new name. It was named Uttar Pradesh in 1950. In 1916, Madras was renamed Tamil Nadu. Similarly,
1973, Mysore was renamed as Karnataka. In the same year, Lakshadweep, Minikoi and Amidevi Island are renamed as Lakshadweep. In 1992, the Union Territory of Delhi was redesignated as a national capital territory of India without being conferred as the status of full-fledged state by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act 1991. In 2006, Uttarakhand renamed as Uttaranchal renamed as Uttarakhand. In the same year, Pondicherry renamed as Puducherry. In 2011, Orissa renamed as Odisha. Orissa renamed as Odisha. Just a recap from the Article 3. Law made by the Parliament under the Article 3 of the Constitution. Assam Alteration of Boundaries Act 1951. Andhra State Act 1953. Himachal Pradesh and Municipal New State Act 1954. Chandramohan Merger Act 1954. State Reorganization Act 1956. Bihar and West Bengal Transfer of Territory Act 1956. Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh Transfer of Territory Act 1959. Andhra Pradesh and Madras Alteration of Boundaries Act 1959. Bombay Reorganization Act 1960. Akkoda Territory 1960. State of Nagaland Act 1962. Punjab Reorganization Act 1960. Bihar and Uttar Pradesh Alteration of Boundaries Act 1968. Andhra Pradesh and Mysore Transfer of Territory Act 1968. Madras State Alteration of Name Act 1968. Assam Reorganization Meghalaya Act 1969. State of Himachal Pradesh Act 1970. Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act 1971. Mysore State Alteration of Name 1973. Lakin Minai and Amidi Island Renamed Act 1973. Haryana Uttar Pradesh Alteration of Boundaries Act 1917. State of Mizoram Act 1986. State of Arunachal Pradesh Act 1986. Goa Daman and Diu Reorganization Act 1987. Madhya Pradesh Reorganization Act 2000. Uttar Pradesh Reorganization Act 2000. Bihar Reorganization Act 2000. Uttaranchal Alteration of Names Act 2006. Pondicherry Alteration of Name Act 2006. Orissa Alteration of Name Act 2011. Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014. Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. Article related to the Union and its territory at a glance. Article 1. Name and territory of the Union. Article 2. Admission or establishment of new state. Article 2A. Seeking to be associated with the Union. Now it's repealed. Article 3. Formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries or names of the existing state. Article 4. Laws made under Article 2 and 3 to provide for amendment for the first schedule and fourth schedule and supplement initially and consequential matters. These are the Article 1 to 4 from the Union and its territory. Part 1 of the Indian Constitution. Here we are going to Part 2 of the Indian Polity. Please like and share NVSR channel. Thank you.